Good afternoon, passengers. This is your captain speaking. I'd like to welcome everyone aboard this podcast. We are currently cruising at an altitude of 35,000 feet and airspeed of 450 miles per hour. Weather is clear and sunny with a high of 75 degrees. The cabin crew will be coming around in about 20 minutes to offer you a light snack and beverage. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the rest of the podcast.
Hello, everybody, and welcome aboard Pilot Error. I'm Tom Feeney, writer for Wang's Chop Movie Magazine. You may know me from such podcasts as The Deep Dive Podcast, The Deep Dive Microcast, Mysteries of the Deep, and Hollywood Hype. Whew.
It's morphin' time! Dragon Sword! Mastodon!
Pterodactyl!
Triceratops!
Saber-tooth tiger!
Tyrannosaurus! Yeah!
Welcome to the first Deep Dive Podcast of 2025. We are back from a little break with another edition of Pilot Error, where we tune in to TV shows that went belly up before their time slot. If you are of a certain age, this theme song may trigger the old nostalgia receptors in your millennial brain. Yes, it's the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, those teenagers with attitudes who have been spin-kicking their way into American homes since 1993. You may have been an OG MMPR fan, or maybe you enjoyed one of the many sequels/spin-offs. And when I say many, I mean many. To date, and depending upon how you actually count them, there have been upwards of 27 different iterations of the series. There have been even more YouTube videos and podcasts about Mighty Morphin Power Rangers and the reasons behind its tremendous success, so I'll just leave that to them. Personally, I was a bit too old to have really embraced the series when it first began airing. I was interested, however, in the provenance of the show. By that, I'm talking about the Japanese television franchise that became the foundation of Power Rangers, Super Sentai. This year, 2025, marks the 50th anniversary of the arrival of Super Sentai on Japanese TV. Essentially, it's a show featuring a team of people who can transform into colorful superheroes that fight various bizarre monsters using martial arts, weapons, and yes, giant robots. Now, from that description, you would naturally assume that Power Rangers was just an Americanized version of Super Sentai. Well, yes and no. It's more of a blending or a fusion of Japanese and American footage to create something new. The idea to do so, however, was far from new. In fact, 15 years prior to the debut of Power Rangers, an American company tried to bring their brand to Japan, and with it, one of the most popular characters in contemporary fiction. Ladies and gentlemen, I give to you the offspring of Japanese studio Toei and Marvel Comics, the 1978 TV series Spider-Man.
谷間の暗闇にキラリと 光る怒りの目安らぎ捨てて全てを捨てて悪を追って空かける
Change the apart.
君はなぜ戦い続けるのか命をかけて一筋に無敵の男スパイダーマン Spider-Man.
Oh yes. Back in the late 70s, Marvel Comics, spearheaded by the late great Stan Lee, partnered with Japan's Toei Studios. Now, for the uninitiated, Toei was the studio responsible for such cinematic insanity as The Green Slime, Tora Tora Tora, and the best/worst Star Wars ripoff of all time, Message from Space. Airing 41 episodes from 1978 to 1979 on Japan's Tokyo Channel 12, Spider-Man, or Spider-Man, bore very little resemblance to the actual comic book version. Instead of Peter Parker, teenage nerd who gains the powers of a spider, the Japanese take is, well, different. Here we have Takuya Yamashiro, a motorcycle racer who finds a crashed spaceship from Planet Spider. He receives his powers via a blood transfusion from the ship's dying pilot, along with web shooters, a Spider-Man costume, and control of a giant robot named Leopardon. Yep, Spider-Man has a giant leopard-themed transforming mecha. For reasons. Now this is relevant also because this was the first Super Sentai show to feature what would become known in Power Rangers as a Megazord. Now, while Spider-Man never aired in the United States, that did not stop Master Showman Stan Lee. No sir. In 1981, Marvel once again teamed up with Toei to produce the Japanese TV series Sun Vulcan. It was the 5th series in the Super Sentai franchise and followed the typical premise. A team of heroes fights weird aliens and rubbery monsters. But this time Stan Lee wanted to rebrand the show for American audiences. Lee pitched the show to networks with a so-called sizzle reel, kind of a demo of what the Americanized show would look like. Lee recruited producer Margaret Lesh to join the project and spent $25,000 on the demo. The idea was to replace the Japanese audio with English and hire American actors to replace the originals. Sound familiar? Well, no one wanted it. It was laughed off by executives as being too cheesy and silly. It would be years later that music mogul Haim Saban would secure the rights to the Super Sentai series. When the time came to pitch Power Rangers to the networks, he needed to convince one executive to believe in that concept. That one executive turned out to be none other than former Marvel producer Margaret Lesh, now head of the Fox Kids Network. Now, having thought the idea was a good one years prior, Lesh was interested in Power Rangers. But like any major television project, you need to have a pilot episode as a proof of concept to see if it actually works as a show. So in 1992, a pilot was shot, but never aired on television. Why? Well, because the pilot and the eventual Mighty Morphin Power Rangers series had some differences. Some were minor, others were huge.
In the year 2014, explorers from Earth uncover a hermetically sealed container on the far side of the moon.
Check it out. Wonder what this is.
Yeah, it's probably just a bunch of space garbage. Let's open it up.
But what was inside was far worse than space garbage and smelled twice as bad. 4 cosmic cretins putridly praising their boss, the Empress of Evil, lovely Rita.
Oh, lovely Rita, let me help you.
Jeez, you made me step in a puddle, you idiot.
Lovely Rita, a 10,000-year-old sorceress in a bad mood, sentenced by her arch-enemy Xantor the Wise to an eternity, drifting through space in a glorified dumpster. But now she's free, and she's really ticked off.
That's right, and guess who I'm gonna take it out on?
The only hope for Earth lies in a computer buried thousands of years ago in a remote California desert by Zoltar. It allows him to communicate in this dimension and is cared for by a small droid named Alpha 5.
Alpha?
Yes, Zoltar?
Alpha, Rita has escaped from her dumpster and is raining terror on the Earth. If we don't do something fast, this planet is toast. Burnt toast, that is.
I know just what to do.
Alpha 5 must now recruit 5 young people to take up the battle against Rita's evil power.
What were those differences between the original pilot and the eventual series? Well, let's go over a few. Firstly, the pilot was titled Dino Rangers during production, reflecting the prehistoric theme of the giant robots, or Zords. Of course, the series was renamed Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, a title that I suspect was chosen due to its syllabic similarity to another popular kids' brand, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So you hear the same kind of thing going on there. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Now, I don't have any proof of this, but it seems to make sense. Now, in terms of the casting, all the actors from the original pilot moved on to the series except for one. Trini, the Yellow Ranger, was played by actor and martial artist Audrey Dubois in the pilot. She was replaced after wanting more money so she could afford to leave her home in Arizona and move to Southern California. Her request was denied, and she was replaced by Vietnamese-American actor Toi Trang. In terms of the overall tone of the pilot, it was somewhat darker and had more of a sense of menace than what was to come. The characters, as you might imagine for a pilot, were not fleshed out very well. And there was no comedy relief that would come later with the 2 idiot characters, Bulk and Skull, getting an expanded role. Also in the pilot, the costumes and props were simpler and less polished. The command center set was less elaborate, and the Rangers' leader and mentor, Zordon, had a different design, as did robot assistant Alpha 5. Now, despite the pilot's slapdash patchwork quality, or maybe because of it, Margaret Lesh of Fox Kids ordered the pilot to series. Everyone else expected it to fail miserably. The fall of 1993 saw Power Rangers, in its first season, reach 4.3 million viewers aged 2 to 11, a record for network children's television. The pilot remained under wraps for years and was a highly sought-after piece of lost media. That is, until 2012, when the pilot was included in the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers The Complete Series DVD set. If you want to check it out, it's also on the YouTubes. I recommend it. It's pretty interesting. Now, by all reasoning, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers was a show that should have lived and died as the 1990s era cotton candy kiddie fodder it was meant to be. The fact that the franchise has endured so many iterations and reboots over the years is astonishing. It just goes to show that the combination of acrobatic martial arts fighting, giant animal-themed robots, and freaky-looking latex monsters are simply too irresistible to young audiences. Now, while researching this episode, I rediscovered something I had completely forgotten about and triggered a wave of personal nostalgia. Back in the 1980s, there was a program that aired late Friday and Saturday nights on the then-fledgling USA cable network. It was a freeform blend of music videos, cult movies, documentaries, and other assorted weirdness. It was called Night Flight.
Tired of seeing the same old videos slapped together? Only on Night Flight can you see takeoffs to the latest trends in today's music, fantastic feature films, video profiles, new sounds, heavy metal heroes, directions in jazz, reggae sunsplash, Mr. Bill, film and video gallery, video vault, and off the wall, Night Flight. Where would your weekend be without it? It's Night Flight, all night. Friday and Saturday at 11, 10 Central on USA.
There was nothing else quite like it on television at the time. You never knew quite what to expect, which was a refreshing change from the monotonous sameness of network television. So why do I bring up this on a podcast about Mighty Morphin Power Rangers? Well, in 1987, Night Flight actually aired episodes of a Super Sentai series called Kagaku Sentai Dynaman. Of course, being a Japanese series, the voices had to be dubbed in English, but this would be no direct translation. No, this one was played entirely for laughs.
It's time now for Dynaman. 5 good-looking Japanese friends from all walks of life. Wushi, their leader, is Dyna Red. Juba, able to leap tall trees, is Dyna Black. Frankie, the human outboard motor, is Dyna Blue. Cowboy, the slow-thinking weapons expert, is Dyna Yellow. And their main squeeze slow gin is Dyna Pink. Under the guidance of this man, Dr. Ho, who, from his laboratory and daycare center, keeps the world safe from the evil antics of Bernie Tanaka and Mel Fujitsu. At one time his partners, but now his arch enemies. Who can stop them? Who can save the world? Ho, that's who. And check this out. The ultimate persuader in the relentless battle against evil. These are the adventures of Dynaman.
This bizarre iteration of Dynaman lasted only 6 episodes, but they were comedy gold. The reworked dialogue was written and performed by none other than the Toronto-based comedy troupe, The Kids in the Hall. It was funny then, and after watching those episodes again for this podcast, just as funny now. And if you're so inclined, they can also be seen on YouTube or on the wonderful Night Flight Plus streaming platform. That is a subscription service. Now, as for our colorful Super Sentai teams, well, I just hope I'm alive to see Power Rangers Assisted Living Facility as they battle the evil head nurse who keeps stealing their morphers and wondering why their Megazords don't visit more often. Until next time.
Ladies and gentlemen, this podcast has just been cleared to land. As we start our descent, please make sure your seat backs and tray tables are in their full upright position. Make sure your seatbelt is securely fastened and all carry-on luggage is stowed underneath the seat in front of you or in the overhead bins. We hope you had a safe and enjoyable listening experience. If you have any comments, go to the deepdivepodcast@gmail.com and drop us a line. Any clips used in the podcast are meant for educational purposes only and not to infringe on any existing copyrights. And thanks for flying, an Automaton Studios production.